I wonder if you are ever tempted to give God advice. Little things that God might do to make our lives just a little nicer. Like maybe with food, to put all of the nutrition that we need in things like pizza and fried chicken, and to load up with saturated fat and cholesterol things like turnips and rutabagas. Or in terms of weather, wouldn't it be nice of God in those winter months to take off a few degrees to spare from St. Thomas Virgin Islands or Cancun and add them to our temperatures up north? Or wouldn't it really be swell of God if He would really show His favoritism to our favorite teams all the time? We're tempted to advise God about all kinds of things. We're also tempted to think that sometimes God has not made some very good choices. Look at the people throughout history that God has chosen to do things for Him. People like Moses, who did a great job getting the Israelites through the desert to the Promised Land, escaping the slavery of Egypt. But Moses had also murdered a man before all of that. Or King David, from whose family Jesus would be born, who had also found the time, King David, to give us the book of Psalms, God's Word, but he also had committed adultery and was responsible for murder. There was Jonah, who was supposed to go preach to the people of Nineveh, and he eventually did, but after a ride in the whale to get there. And even when he did preach, and his preaching was effective, Jonah didn't like the Ninevite people. Couldn't God have made some better choices, we think, and would like to advise God about future choices? But the truth of the matter is, God is God and we are not God. We are the creatures of God, and God knows what He's doing. And God knows the people He has chosen. And among those people He has chosen are the likes of you and me. We look at the prophet Amos in the first reading today. Amos was in the king's temple, and he was being interviewed by the head priest there, whose name was Amaziah. And it's as though Amaziah was conducting an employment interview for prophets in that temple. He says to Amos, "What are your credentials?" Amos says, "What credentials? I don't have any to present." "Well, what do you do?" Amaziah says. "Well," Amos says, "I'm a shepherd. I learned how to do that from my father and my grandfather. And I also tend to sycamore trees, and I've kind of picked that up on the side. But I do know this," Amos says, "I have seen people cheating each other in the marketplace. I have seen people evict widows from their homes. I have seen people sell a child for a new pair of sandals. And the Lord told me to prophesy. And so that's exactly what I'm doing. He chose me to do it. I'm doing it." Who does God call? We hear in the second reading from Paul's letter to the Ephesians that we have been called by God in His Son, Jesus Christ. Every single one of us today, here and beyond, has been called personally by God in His Son, Jesus Christ. And what does it take to respond to that call? It really means that we offer the Lord our lives. We're not just weekend Christians. We're also weekday Christians. We're Christians 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. We are to be the ones that we profess to be. And with God's grace, we are to do what God expects us to do. We offer Him our lives. Now, that probably is not going to mean for us that we have to put our heads on the executioner's block in a bloody kind of way. Probably not, but I can't say that with certainty either. And actually, that might be an easier thing to do than trying to live as a Christian every day of our lives until the Lord calls us home. But that's what we're supposed to do. I need to give my life to God because everything I have received in life is a gift to me from God. We had as our stewardship motto this year for our renewal, "Do you really want me?" That's a theme from today's scriptures, and the answer in both cases is yes, yes. All of those people in the past probably said that too. "Lord, do you really want me?" Yes. I know what I'm doing. I know who it is that I'm choosing, and I have chosen you. What you have received as a gift, give as a gift. There was a graduation in a small community college, and one of the graduates was given an award. He was given a scholarship to continue his studies. At the end of the academic recession, he stopped at his mother and dad, and they didn't have much money, and their outfits showed that. He stopped there for a moment. He took the envelope with the scholarship in it and put that envelope in his mother's hands. And then he walked off with the other graduates. She reached over and took her husband's hand and put it on top of that envelope. And she said to him, "It was really worth it, honey, wasn't it?" They all knew what that meant. That mother and father had gone without a lot so that their son could go to school and be well educated. And he knew that. And he felt that the best way he could honor his mother and father and their sacrifice was to do the very best that he could while at school. While he was given the award of the scholarship for his performance, he knew that that scholarship award really went to his mother and father because they were the ones that had made it possible for him.